I want you to know, you believed in me once, I am asking you to believe again. We can win this election, and we will. I need your help next Tuesday, because we're not just going to win the Florida primary. We are going to win Florida in November, and we are going to turn this country around.
Marco Rubio last night turning his attention to his home state of Florida after failing to win a single delegate yesterday. So he puts all of his chips on Florida, but the latest CNN ORC poll shows he has a long way to go before next Tuesday. Take a look at the Republican polling from that state. Donald Trump way out in front, 40% to Rubio's 24%. So can Marco make up lost ground? Let's talk about it with our political panel. First, from Newsmax Washington, noted Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. And Skyping in from St. Petersburg, Florida, Democratic media strategist and Vice President of KCOM Public Relations, Franco Ripple. Ford, first to you. Several reports say that Marco Rubio's campaign is in a death spiral. Is it time for Rubio to get out, Ford?
Well, I definitely think that Marco Rubio is on life support. I don't know why he would get out before the March 15th primary, because at the end of the day, there's only two people that can win Florida, Trump and Rubio, and apparently Rubio's actually done very well with early balloting and absentee balloting, but he's the only hope for the non-Trump forces to win Florida, so he should at least stay until March 15th. After that, I think it's going to be happy trails for Marco.
Meantime, Politico reports the GOP establishment is slowly moving toward Cruz. The narrative is that Ted is the only one who can beat Trump, and it's starting to ring true with some establishment types. If Cruz wins establishment support, can he truly beat Trump? Franco, I know you get a kick out of analyzing the Republican race. Your take on that?
Well, I'm shocked, frankly, that the establishment Republicans are moving towards Ted Cruz, because both anecdotally and it seems like statistically, he's so universally disliked amongst the Republican establishment. He's clearly doing quite well, not the greatest, according to Donald Trump, but he's doing quite well with Republican primary voters. But, you know, Ford's right. There's no reason for Marco Rubio to get out any earlier than the Florida primary. That being said, more than 2/3 of Republican primary voters in Ohio and Florida say that Kasich and Rubio, respectively, should get out of the race if they don't win their home state.
Franco, you raise a very good point. If you're a mainstream Republican, because I don't know who the establishment is, a choice between Cruz and Trump is a little bit like death by the firing squad versus death by the guillotine. The question is, how much do you really want to stop Donald Trump? And I'll say something else. On March 15th, if he wins North Carolina, Illinois, Florida, and Ohio, I'm not so sure they're going to be able to stop Trump. They keep thinking that, well, if everyone gets behind Cruz, I'm not so sure Cruz is actually going to stop Trump.
But that leads...
It's fully
possible
that it's fully possible that no one's going to stop Trump at this point. But I'm still surprised. Look, I've said all along that Cruz is not the outsider that he portrays himself to be. He came up as part of the Bush network in Texas, a Solicitor General appointed by President Bush. He's not the outsider he pretends to be, but he's still so universally disliked, Ford, that I'm shocked that that is who they're coalescing around.
And it leads to this question, Ford. What about Kasich? He's supposedly the establishment guy in Ohio. Why are they failing to coalesce around John?
Well, you have to understand something about John Kasich. He may win Ohio and it's 66 delegates, but you got to realize he is pretty much mathematically eliminated. The only way he can become the nominee is if Donald Trump or somebody else does not get to 1,237 delegates, and then we go to a brokered convention. But if you go to a brokered convention, it's like flying an airplane into an active volcano. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and somebody may take their votes and go home.
All right, a couple of minutes left. We better move to the other side of the aisle. Bernie Sanders stunning Hillary Clinton in Michigan last night. No big surprise in Mississippi. Hillary won big. Now, Franco, you have been an adamant Hillary booster. I guess we're going to get the Clinton line from you on Michigan being a hiccup and Mississippi being the thing that's right about the universe, huh?
Well, as Secretary Clinton supporter, I may be, but no one's sending me talking points. So as far as the campaign line goes, I think the most important point is to remember that Hillary Clinton actually fared better last night in the delegate math by virtue of, yes, as you said, having a commanding win in Mississippi. Yeah, I think, look, the reality is when you look closer at Michigan, the unions really stayed sidelined. And Bernie Sanders, when you look at, and I think that made a big difference, it's a heavily unionized state, especially the auto industry, where Bernie Sanders refused to support the auto bailout. Hillary Clinton did. I think when you look more closely at the numbers, it wasn't that shocking because Bernie Sanders did better with younger and whiter voters. Hillary Clinton did better with
Franco, as much as you enjoy talking about what a mess the Republican Party is, you have a mess on the Democratic side, and herein lies the problem. Hillary Clinton is not sticking with white working-class voters, as you noted. She is going to be the nominee. That could be a major problem in the general election. But there's something else that happened that didn't happen in Mississippi that happened in Michigan, and that was African-American voters did not turn out with the same ferocity in Michigan as they did in Mississippi. And I'm just going to tell you, we ain't losing Mississippi in the general election. You've got some problems and some holes to plug before the general election.
Ford, not losing Mississippi, my friend, is a foregone conclusion. That's fine. But as for African Americans not turning out in force for Hillary Clinton, that, to paraphrase Joe Biden, is a bunch of malarkey, my friend, because they came out for her with like a 35% margin. What more do you want? For her to get 150% of African American voters?
Well, you know what, guys? We're going to have to end it right there. And I think you're about to talk about superdelegates. Given the curious math of the Democratic Party with some decidedly, I don't know if you call it non-democratic, you might call it, Franco, hyper-democratic rules, a little fishy, gone is the one-person, one-vote notion of the delegates. We'll have to leave it there for now. Our thanks to Franco Ripple in St. Petersburg, Florida, and, of course, Ford O'Connell in Washington, D.C. And we'll have more right after this.